Okay, techniques in the next two sections of the set lines of book 2. So starting from line 268. Now, just for context, again, Aeneas is continuing his story of the fall of Troy to Dido and the Carthaginians, and so yes. So if you know roughly about the fall of Troy, happens at night time when they've already taken the horse into the city. So just to show the absent-mindedness of the Trojans in retelling this story, and also that that double motivation as well. So the human agency which led to this, but also divine as well. There's the personification in 269 in terms of sleep spreading slowly over them. So it's like they're getting gradually more tired, about to fall asleep. You know, sometimes don't just happen. You just feel more tired as you go along, but also saying it's a gift of the gods. Okay, so and in saying that, also just the juxtaposition between mortals and gods, like those two words, mortalibus and divum, syncopated form of divorum, being close to each other. So yeah, kind of just that comparison, just really emphasizing just the impact of God's actions on humans, not just here, but throughout the Aeneid. Okay, so in the middle of the blue book was there weren't a lot of notes compared to the first section. So we can just go through. Okay, so just all right. So wearing Hector who. Okay, so here is just so the mention of. I'm not going through the translation, but just you have to know here that Aeneas sees a vision of Hector, the dead Hector, who convinces him that Troy cannot be saved and he must take the household gods and found a new Troy, effectively. So, what kind of video? Hector returns wearing Achilles' arms having shot to the Greek ship. Yeah, so just this is one of the stock standard examples of synecdoche. So sterns representing ships. So the word pupibus. In terms of any wider significance, it could just perhaps just show Hector's bravery in opposing the Greeks and Greek ships, and just Greeks in general, I guess. So just to emphasize his appearance, so not the same as he looked like when he was alive, just a tricolon of beard, so barbam, I'll just scroll up, barbam, and hair, clinis, and wounds. Was that Woolnera? So just to emphasize his appearance as an apparition, I guess, rather than as when he was alive, which is markedly different and worse than like you could think the strapping young warrior who would have fought. Okay, so weeping I myself seem to call the man to close sad words. So yes, here possible metonymy. So 280, what case means voices. But you'd say it's voice representing what comes out of what is expressed with the voice, that is words, which could draw attention to the significance, not only the significance, but also just as it says there, the sadness of the exchange between the two. Anaphora, so repetition of the same word. O light of Troy, O surest hope of the Trojans. So here, yeah, so just here, emphasizing what delays I dread it from Richard. How is it made to see your people after it? We catch sight of you. So yeah, so just by repeating the O, so who addressing Hector and how significant he was when he was alive. So light of Troy, surest hope of the Trojans. Just emphasizing those two definitions for him, I guess. So dreaded Hector, from which coast do you come? How is it only now, after many deaths of your people, after various hardships of both our people and of our city, where we catch sight of you? So just after, so here, just the repetition of the after and after, just to say, oh, why only now are we seeing you? So just by detailing two things after which this has happened. So you appear to us now, only now, in death, that is. No other red writing here. Oh, here we go. So I think, sorry, I think I skipped that bit where he says nothing, but heavily. Okay, so yeah, so now Hector replies. So yeah, here's where it says that Troy can't be saved. Enough has been given to your native fatherland and to Priam. So yeah, so just symbols of the past that must be left behind. To emphasize this whole sentiment that Troy cannot be saved, the use of the word Pergama, which is the citadel of Troy, synecdoche to represent the whole of Troy. Not unlike, yeah, so it's quite symbolic in a, I don't know, in a coup or something like that, when you see the main building of a city being occupied. So not unlike this, okay? So Pergama there. It had been defended by this. So Hector is saying, I am dead. If Troy could have been saved, it would have happened when I was alive. But now that I'm dead, I'm telling you now, it can't be saved. So deeds of war. Sorry, I'll scroll down here. So where it says Pergama, by deeds of war, that would be dextra. So by my right hand. So the weapon holding hand. So the thing that that is used to fight wars and to defend Troy, but yes. So metonymy, hand representing deeds of war, which so and I guess too it would what would it highlight? Highlight the futility of this now. That yeah, so well, not quite lay down your weapons, but just it's no use anymore. Is that it for this section? Oh, no, just one more. So before we, so just that little break there. So yeah, so what I have been saying is that Hector says Troy can't be saved anymore, and for Aeneas to take the culture, the beliefs with him to a new land. So this is highlighted by a potential tricolon. So it says sacred headband. So what line is this? 296. So vitas, that's a masterman's word, by the way. and Vesta, so representing fire. So Vesta was a very important goddess to the Romans of Virgil's day. So it could say a pointed reference to his audience. And and here, yes. So, and the eternal fire from the innermost shrine or sanctuary. So fire, ignem. And yeah, the first two potential deities in terms of, like, you could just say a statue of Vesta wearing sacred headbands, or so just it says like with those hanging off the statue, you could say. So just like headbands of Vesta, but it says headbands and Vesta. So those two things are kind of connected. So just, yeah, drawing attention to what he's bringing, what he has to bring with him. So leaving behind the land, but taking not only the people but the beliefs with him and with the Trojans. So the next section is 500 odd. So 506, I'll scroll down here. 506. There we go. There we go. Okay, so this part of the story relates to Priam's last stand in Troy. So just these lines here. So a very common example of synecdoche. So what line is that? 507. Tectorum. So roofs representing houses. So just the houses being not only the roofs, you can say, being on fire, but also just houses being violated. So these private spaces, like, think about, just say, a robbery, like this, your private space being violated by invaders. And yes, in this line here, so 50678, you have penetralibus and hostem. So there is a note. Now I'm using the blue book, this one, which is the 1 to 6, but also a separate one. So if there are any additional notes on techniques on this book 2, just this sole book 2, I've added those as well. So I haven't missed anything in terms of technique. So what they say here is penetralibus or penetralia often describes sacred or secret places. So things that outsiders ought not to penetrate. And then that's followed by the word hostem. And so it's like this place here, and the hostem is next to or at the penetralibus or the penetralia. So the enemy is very close to where it should not be. So it's about to penetrate, you could say, or invade, violate this sacred or secret place. So yeah, the word choice and the word order, it's said to increase the sense of horror, impending horror. And yeah, just generally this passage is literally rather pathetic, so laced with pathos, with the scene of the very old Priam. I mentioned this in the translation lecture, putting on his arms in a last stand for Troy. So 510. So yeah, so nequiquam means fruitlessly. And the word kingitur is the enjambed word. So that just draws attention to the to the pity you feel as he takes on this action and puts on his armor, which has not been used. Yes, as it said, unused for a long time. So desueta diu, which could, by the way, yeah, I don't write all forms of or all techniques, but yeah, clearly there you have alliteration. I don't think I have to. Alliteration is one of the techniques which you can identify just by looking at the Latin. But those two words definitely go together, and I can see that this action. So there, these arms, this armor is not meant to be worn by a man of his age. So yes, he's unused to wearing it for a long time. And yet it hadn't been used for a long time because yes, you shouldn't have he shouldn't have to. There should be younger people who do the job for him. So that's Kingitor. And yeah, drawing attention as well to just this this armor and these weapons which an old man is taking up rather pathetically, literally. Sword. So yeah, another very common form of metonymy is iron representing sword. So a few things drawing attention to this action. Virgil often deals in similes. Now this one, this one isn't too long, but he does often deal in similes involving animals. So in the lectures, the lecturer said that it's purely for his audience. So this is meant to be read aloud, and there are some things which his audience could not picture. So he provides a simile for them using things that he knew they could picture in their head, such as animals. So here, so what do we have? So this is Priam and his family so sheltering, wanting sanctuary in their private space, and Hecuba and her daughter. So Hecuba, his wife, and his daughters, just sort of huddling together. And the word that gives it away. So usually the word that gives away the simile, if I can find it, I think it's here, Hecuba. I think it's CE, it has to be CEU. Yes, so CEU, not a very common word, by the way. So just as doves going down in a dark storm. So columbi praecipites, that's an adjective, by the way, in a dark storm, an atra tempestate. And also, so could just, draw attention to their vulnerability. So just they're not, you have other similes relating to animals, but they're, bulls or lions or things like that, whereas these are doves. And just the impending doom is compared to a dark storm as well. That's part of the simile too. Is there much more, or that's pretty much it? Yeah, so it's quite a light on those sections which I translated on Monday in terms of techniques. Quite light on, and that leaves one lecture each until we finish the first half. Okay, so that will do for this lecture.